Hi everyone, welcome to a new video. This year I decided to start the 100-day project, but with a twist. I love these kind of projects because they give me a chance to explore new ideas. Before I started drawing, I spent some time figuring out how I wanted to approach this, like what supplies to use and what the overall process would look like. At the beginning, I didn't have a super clear vision or a specific set of rules I wanted to follow for each piece yet. The only thing I knew was that I wanted each piece to be a 4x4 inch square, and I wanted the illustrations themselves to mostly be done in colored pencils. So I started experimenting with some acrylic gouache to see if that would work as a base layer. Once the acrylic gouache dried on the 4x4 inch pieces, I realized I really wasn't loving the results. The paint looked really patchy and the texture wasn't really what I was hoping for. So instead of forcing this to work, I decided it was time to experiment a little more. I tested out a few different base mediums to see what would work best. After trying a few options, traditional gouache ended up being my favorite for sure. The color was smoother, the coverage looked nicer, and it just felt better to use the color pencils over the top. Once I figured that out, I gathered all the supplies I planned on using for the project, trying to keep the materials somewhat limited to help me make the project feel more cohesive. For the paper, I chose to use hot press watercolor paper because it works really good with traditional gouache, and I really love how the paint flowed across the paper nicely and created soft color transitions. I also added some paint splatters for extra texture and visual interest. After about an hour of painting, I had a whole collection of painted watercolor sheets drying in the studio to use. Once all the large sheets were dried, it was time to cut them down to 4x4 inch squares. I chose to rip the pieces using a ruler instead of cutting, just to make it easier and quicker for myself. While I think using the ruler ripping method saved a lot of time, it still took me quite a while to finish these, but slowly but surely I got them done. Once I had the 100 little squares ready to go, I organized them by color so I could easily pick a background depending on the mood or the idea I wanted to bring to life. If I'm being honest, some of the colors, such as the orange, made me a little nervous because I did not know how the color pencils were going to look over the top of that. Since I was a little nervous about some of the base colors, I did a quick color test with my color pencils on scrap pieces of the painted paper. That way I could see which color pencils really popped on each of the backgrounds. I found this very helpful once I started to illustrate and choosing my color palettes. Around this time, I started brainstorming with ideas in my sketchbook. As I was doodling and writing things down, I kept coming back to combining feelings and plants. That's how the theme of my 100-day project was born, called Feelings and Flora. With a theme set and all my supplies figured out, it was finally time to start sketching the first piece. And I was nervous to start. I was so afraid that I was going to mess this up. Adding the final details to my first piece was really exciting because this meant that the project had officially started and there was no going back at this point. After finishing the first piece, I decided to create this little tracker for myself in my sketchbook. So I just got out my traditional gouache palette and I painted 100 tiny tiles, and every time I finish a piece, I'll fill one of these little tiles in with the title and the date. I'm also being realistic with this challenge, and I know I probably won't be able to finish one piece every single day, and for me that's okay. My goal is simply to complete all 100 pieces by the end of this year. After I was able to complete a few of the pieces, I started to hang them up on a wall in my art studio. And watching them slowly fill this wall is honestly one of the most motivating parts of this whole project. I'm really excited to see how this collection grows over the next few months and where it will take me by the end of this year. Thanks for following along with me as I started the 100-day project. Until next time, I hope you have an amazing, beautiful, wonderful day. Bye!